Hello, hello. Welcome to, hang on one second. Welcome to my live, there we go. We're jumping on live with Lynn Tucker. Hang on. Beautiful. It should work. Welcome.
Hello.
Lynn.
How are you?
How you going?
I'm really good. I feel like we haven't spoken for a long time.
30 minutes.
30 minutes.
30 minutes. 30 minutes.
Hey, Kate. How
Hi,
are
everyone
you?
who's jumping on. Kate, you know Caitlin?
Yes, I do.
Thanks for dropping live. That's so beautiful to have you here. I'm Erin, and this is Lynn.
Yeah.
And we thought we'd jump on today and have a conversation around a couple of things. Hi.
Hey, lovely.
And this kind of came about through a few different things, but it's because at the end of last year, Lynn wonderfully approached me for some coaching, and we just hit it off.
We sure did. We sure did.
You know, it was like, yeah, this is on. It was like soul client, soul coach, boom. It was
it was just like an instant connection. It was crazy, but yeah.
It was instant, and which is beautiful because we both work off the energy. But I wanted to invite Lynn on today to have a chat around her experience so far, because she's been in one of my coaching programs, my one-to-one, for about 4 months.
4 months.
I think you covered a 4-month window, which is really beautiful. And I'm just in awe of how far you've come so far, and the reasoning around, you know, how you got here and what happened. So we're going to have a bit of a chat. I'll prompt you, ask you a few questions. But my first question would be, and we're talking about abundance through change, transformation. Lynn is also a coach. So if you're watching this, you may know her from your world. So she's also a coach. And coaches have coaches. This is normal.
Yeah.
Good coaches
Which many people don't know, actually, Erin, that we have coaches.
Yeah. Coaches have coaches too, because we're not always, you know, we've all got blind spots, basically. And so for me, I'm all about abundance consciousness, and really aligning with the truth of who you are, and then finding your highest potential through those connections within yourself, and then also around changing the world to be more abundant and having more women entrepreneurs successful in business. I like to look at the foundations of women in business and ensure they're not bringing all that old school hustle and fear-based dictatorships that we often find that, you know,
in the world so much.
Coming from. So we're changing those environments and letting, you know, I really love supporting women in that way to transform not only their own life, but also the lives of others when they're helping them. So a lot of my customers and clients are in the position of Lynn, where they're starting businesses or have businesses in their entrepreneurship, but they're very much service-based entrepreneurs who really are heart-led, soul-led, and, you know, divinely guided. So Lynn, welcome. What drove you, first of all, to look for a coach, and then second, what was it that actually made you decide for me to be your coach?
Oh, that's a good one. I think before I came to you, I had coaches previously, but they were very much stuck in the domain of just the normal prereqs of life coaching. And for me, I was looking for that next level, that next stage, it was more the spiritual journey, Erin, that I'd kind of started, that I wasn't quite sure how to progress with that or where to go with that. I'd only just tapped in and started scratching the surface on it. And also my life coach had retired, wonderful Phil. It was time to give that man some peace. He'd already retired. And I said, that's okay. But what was very strange was I had looked up other life coaches prior to that. And when Phil and I had that discussion that day, I just felt this energy to just, I've got to go and search. And when I searched, it was actually you that came up first. And I'm looking through the website and the page and I'm like, oh my God, this is it. This is it. This is it. And then I go to your form and I'm just like, with all this stuff that was going on at that time. And I remember you saying to me when you read it going, okay, talking like the Scottish women types. But really for me, it was that spiritual growth. Like I've done a lot of physical growth and mental growth, but that connection with myself is just really what I felt was missing. And I was a bit exhausted being the hamster on the wheel and not being able to find that path. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. And it's interesting that you know, obviously you were in the market for a coach because that's always beneficial. Yeah. But also what drives, I mean, being a coach yourself, like understanding what drives the idea of having a coach. Like, you know, what do you find? And I know for me, like I use a coach to, one, see the spots that I can't see myself. And also, you know, depending on the type of coaching, because you can get one-to-one, you can purchase courses. Like a lot of coaches have courses that you can buy and watch at your own time. And then there's also coaches like I'm in a mastermind. You can, you know, I have a mastermind, that kind of thing. But and different strategies for different things for different people. Do you know what I mean? Like at different times. But the driver of having a coach, you know, for me was basically just always having that support, that you know that person's got your back. But also they're going to give you answers that aren't, and this is what I think I do a lot, but they're going to give you answers that aren't necessarily, maybe not what you want to hear all the time. You know what I mean? Like,
true, right? The stuff that we're maybe not looking at or we don't want to face. And you're like, oh, why can't you just rub my back and say it's going to be better? But of course, what's the point in doing that, right? You can get that, I think, from your friendship group. But for me, like I do like a lot of the different modalities, you know yourself, that I've done some of your online courses, I've done some other online courses, and that has been amazing. But I think I wanted more of a personalized, I need to unlock that. I feel this within me. I don't know what to do with it. Like how do I start? Do you know what I mean? And then where do I go from here? I've got all this information that was downloading into my head and I just felt overwhelmed. And when I was doing a lot of those courses, I would get, you know, the popcorn kernel moments that you and I talk about, but I feel a one-to-one session with you, even the session that we had today, it's like multiple popcorn kernels are popping all over the room with insights that I'm like, oh my God, how can I not see that when it's right in front of me? So as you're saying, like that blind spot that you're missing, even though I don't even think it's a blind spot for me, sometimes I go, oh my Lord.
yeah.
When you get the aha moment and go, wow. But I think the second thing as well is I have a life coach for me, for my personal growth, my journey. But the beauty of working with you as well is it's also from that business perspective. And obviously you've been in corporate for so many years yourself, and you come from, you know, that space, and you've been in this space now for God knows how many years as well. So it really was just that I connected with you on so many different levels. That example this morning, earlier when we spoke, I didn't even need to say the words. You instantly said, that's interesting. I'm getting the sense that you're feeling a bit. And I was like, okay, so that whole mask didn't cover it. I was like, hey, how are you? And you were like, nah, you're not feeling good today. And I was like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
So yeah, the personal one-to-one growth for me and being able to connect with you, because I connect with you daily on Voxer as well. So as things come up, I can put it out there and then percolate on it for a while till we next connect as well. So yeah, I just wanted it all to be about me.
It's interesting because not many people understand or know what Voxer is. I mean, we know Voxer is a messaging service. So when we're talking about messaging, I offer a service where, because of my gifts, my genius, in that I am able to download insights pretty much on the spot. So when I found, and I used to run sessions, see you in a fortnight, I'd do 2-hourly sessions and it would be full on.
Yeah.
But I found for my own, like the way I designed my programs was also to fit my genius, because I do offer that daily, like you can drop into Voxer and ask me a question and that instant thing comes. Yeah. But the thing is, if the Voxer wasn't there, I still get information because you're in a container. And when I was going from like fortnight to fortnight, it was driving me nuts.
Yeah, because I'll be like, you had all this information coming at you. Like, and I'm sitting there like, I need to release it. And you're going, but I already know that stuff. It makes it more effective. And I think easier to take things in kind of manageable chunks, especially being a manifestor generator myself. My brain is constantly has 100 things going around it, at one time. So it really works for me.
And I'll just put a note in there, if you're new watching this back and you're watching the replay, or if you're watching this, Kate, the human design, Lynn just mentioned manifesting generator. It is a modality or a blueprint called human design, and I use that a bit in my coaching, because everyone has a different blueprint, and depending on your design and how that works, you will function differently to someone else. And so it's really powerful work to actually kind of find the nuances within you to like we were doing that today, where Lynn were talking about, because Lynn is an emotional authority, and really allowing things to percolate for her for 48 hours before really taking a run at it is, before taking a lead action on it, because she does have this emotional information that she needs to percolate through. Whereas I'm a generator and I am a sacral authority. And so I'm just like responding all the time with like, hell yes, or it's a hell no, or a not yet. I do have a not yet thing, but like I can tell very quickly whether we're going to work together, what the information is. My body is constantly giving me information, and being highly intuitive, which is that insight that comes all day, that's all part of my design too. And everybody has their own design and how that looks and how that land. So we often use that. I use that in my coaching, because you were new to that before my world. How has that impacted you, learning about that?
Oh, for me, it's been massive, because as you say, like I have so many ideas and so many things going on in my head, and also very open emotionally. So to really understand that structure in the human design, and also that sitting on it for 48 hours, rather than, I'd go, oh, then in that case, I should run off and do this. I was so busy doing, that once I connected with you, I've started to learn, although I go off the track sometimes, but being and really feeling it and asking the universe, is this something that's right for me? Is this something that I should be working on or putting out to the universe? It's just made such a tremendous difference to be able to tap into it and feel it, because I have been a slave to being stuck in here for so many years, to the point of exhaustion, where you're so caught up in that doing cycle. You're a hamster on the wheel. You're not actually getting where you need to be, when all you need to do is take a step back and follow the guidance that's in human design to go, right, that's the right path. And now I know, I'm in knowing. I'm not just doing, I am in knowing that that is where I need to go. That is where I'm going to help my clients the most. That really fully aligns to me. When you really go, yeah, that's it. And you've got that little gold moment. So yeah, huge thing for me. And yeah, something I'll be using with my clients too.
And so far in your coaching, you're 4 months in. We're doing a 12-month thing together. So that's a journey in itself. What's the biggest, and I say biggest takeaway because Lynn has many. She's like popping like left and center, and majority of my clients have popping like popcorn. Lynn has pretty much named it in that.
Yeah.
But what do you think for you has impacted you and personally and your business the most being in this coaching container with me?
So it's kind of two answers in one.
Yeah,
of course. But really it's that strong alignment and energy and using them both together. I have continued to kind of throughout my life, as we all do, because we can take on external environments and energies or feedback or direction. We get it from the media, we get it from our family, we get it from our friendship groups. We even get, information from our children and our clients. And it's been able to take that to go, what part of that is mine and what part of that is yours, to understand where that sits within us. Because I have found, not even aware of it, that I have went off alignment on my personal journey and my business journey. No awareness of it. I've just taken all this information because I'm so open. I'll take all the information in, but it might not be my information. So going back to the human design, it might not be, my anxiety. It might not be that I need to work in the space of anxiety, as we were discussing earlier, because I might be getting to go, is this mine?
Can I just, you just cut out for a bit. So what did you just say, the last bit? I missed it.
Apologies, the phone went, even though I've got this on silent. So the last bit, apologies, was being able to use, that information and sit and percolate for 48 hours to go, is this mine? Is this my journey? Is this where I want to go? Am I in alignment right now, or have I got back out of alignment? And just being able to ask those questions and say it out loud. We said earlier, I feel out of alignment, or I feel frustrated, or I feel saying it out loud just brings us back into the moment to go, wait a minute, I wasn't in the moment. I was taking on all this other information and other energies, and I went over here. That's not my path. So alignment, energies, to make sure that I am staying in my path of where I need to be, in my alignment.
Yeah. And given my background, I'm holistic in what I do, because some people come to me with what they think might be a business problem or what they think is a personal problem, and I'm like, actually it's the opposite of, like
it's the opposite, or it's both, it's linked,
or it's both.
Yeah,
so it's that different, the holistic approach that I have. But I also, I'm not just giving you information about energy and about your alignment. There's other things that I'm bringing to the table. So I just wanted to know, what do you think your key takeaways have been in the physical changes or the physical systems possibly, or, things like that I talk about and give you?
Oh, look, there's so many different areas, but I think one of the biggest things was the way that I was approaching things was very process driven, right? And my objective was always to build the online programs. And I was over here doing a lot of one-to-one sessions, which was fabulous. That's a space that I still wanted to work in. But what I was doing, I was overthinking things, over processing things, over perfecting things, not using the right tools, the right models. I was making it bigger than it had to be. And of course, I want to give value back to my customers, but understanding from a business perspective, and also from, a client perspective, what it is that they need, rather than me personally sitting here going through this end-to-end process that meant I was never going to launch. I think some kind, direct words of, you got to look at it from your client's perspective, a business perspective, overthinking it, the processes and methods, even tools that you'd shared with me that just really made a huge difference in getting to market a lot faster. And I was like, why did I never know about this before?
Yeah.
I thought it was tech savvy.
It's 10
but
years.
It wasn't,
10 years here. 10 years.
Yes, all the emotion that was going on was blinding me from the day-to-day effectiveness of running a business and where to spend my calories effectively and not waste them. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Because you only have so much energy, so much time, as much as we don't like to admit it in our lives. We, I run with the belief that time is within us, but we still set that time, and we do live in a 24-hour clock. And so it's really aligning to what is beneficial for you, and not doing things that actually wasting your time. Because I find a lot of people are doing, when they come from different cultures in business where they've hustled, they're fear-based, it's do.
Hustling, yes.
Yeah, the expectation is that you need to do that in your own business, yet you left to not have that. And so it's that shift of like really understanding the intuition, but where are you moving from? Because you will get intuition at every vibration. It's just whether you're in the low, and I say low, all energy, all emotion, all vibration is vibration, right? But we talk about low and high frequency because we're moving in and out of those frequencies every day. But there is this, you can hang out in a particular frequency more often, which is what I like to call the mood almost, or the pattern, where we come back to our patterning. And they usually are the lower vibrations, the places we avoid to be in. But that movement in, like, how do we get from intuition from the higher levels of vibration is very different to the intuition that you get when you're in fear. You're going to get intuition both ways, but when you're in fear, it'll be this and that and that and that, and that, because it's a scarcity.
But even, the marketing feedback that we discussed the other week as well, where I was saying to you, like, I feel like I'm kind of off balance again and feeling a little bit of anxiety. And when we look back at the marketing, just even the words that I was using was coming across fear, need-based, etc., etc. And again, I wasn't aware of it because the topic itself was a really good topic. But if you were to take me today and go and record that topic again, it would come across very differently. And I'm not saying that I shouldn't be myself, but it's the awareness of knowing, is that me? Where does that come from before I go out to talk about that topic? Because if you look at a few different posts, that marketing feedback was gold for me. Because now I know before I begin, and I also do all of my marketing, let's say on the Monday, pre-record it all, and I might get to Tuesday, Wednesday and go, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. I do that. Record, pre-record, and then we're like, oh, that's like, I'm not the same person I was 3 days ago.
No. Where was that coming from?
Every day, I'm a new person. But that energy of like, the thing about the vibration is it's not just about yours. If you're attracting customers and you're looking at client attraction and you're wanting to bring, and we're talking about attraction marketing, we're not talking about going out and getting, which is very much the normal school of where do I go and get my clients.
I've had to unlearn a little bit.
We're talking about what we're calling in to us and how we're doing it and from what vibration, and understanding, particularly for women, we are very different in our energy cycle, let alone, we're not on a 24-hour clock. We live in a moon cycle. And so understanding sometimes, like, we have this surge of energy, and then other times where we're like, that energy is not there. So utilizing the different energies, but also that the customer that you're calling in is on a different vibration that you're wanting to meet. So the ideal customer is going to have a different vibration to the one that you might be talking to, because you're coming from a lower vibration.
Coming from needs-based, right? Yeah. But also, just to tap into one other thing that you just said there as well, that I really feel that I learned from you, was because I've always been in that doing, busy mind, then I'd hit major exhaustion, it would show mentally, physically, emotionally. And it was the awareness of, the ebbs and the flows of energy, when to use that effectively and when to go, do you know what? It's fine to have a rest. You don't need to be on, because you're a human being too. Like, sit down, have the cup of tea, relax.
You remind me of a session I had with one of my other clients. she's saying to me, I just want to lie down. And I'm like, well, lie down. Like, lie down. So she's literally lied down on the ground we're on the Zoom. She's lying on the ground and I'm talking to like her lying on the ground. But I'm all like, this is the thing, like the body talks, the body gives you a lot of information. And when you start to let it talk, it'll be like, I need a rest. And I need a moment, and I need this, and I need that. And meeting those needs actually helps with those lower frequencies. And then you get to start to build up and start to move through your desires into like what you really love to do, what your genius is.
So good, right? When you do listen to that and stop to take the time to listen to it and feel it. God, the amount of time that it saves. The amount of unhappiness and, you know, where you're just stuck again in the conscious mind rather than listening to the body telling you what those messages are. You know, when you're feeling stressed, you're feeling tired, or as we said, anxiety isn't always bad. It could be a message that our body is trying to tell us. So don't run from it, tap into it, listen to it, feel it.
Yeah.
It's made such a huge difference. And as you say, it's only been 4 months, but yeah.
Yeah. Can I ask a question? Like I delve a lot into your subconscious mind through my gifts because I see into the history of your blueprint, and there's different ways you could say it, but I just say subconscious minds, like we're playing in your subconscious. What we're trying to do is bring forward the things that are unconscious so that you're aware of them, because once you're aware, changes the dynamic, right?
Yeah.
Because once you see it, and I think that's the thing about why we use coaches, because we all have blind spots, and I think that shift is really important to, like, you can be a conscious person, but we always go unconscious. Like, it's inevitable because we have an ego. The ego, I've just released a podcast today on Your Abundance podcast, and the guest Tanya was talking about, you know, she went on this journey of enlightenment because she so wanted the enlightenment, but she, you know, she wanted to obliterate the ego. And it's really understanding that that's not, we want to work, like self-actualization is healthy ego. It's healthy, like ownership of this is who I am in this world. I'm the same as everybody else, but I'm unique because of this essence that I have that's unique to me.
Right.
And that shift of energy. So I wonder, just in the first 4 months, how have you really, there was a long-winded question to get here, but how have you really landed in, you know, what has abundance shifted, like in abundance, like what has shifted for you just in that 4 months? Because, you know, we talk about money, we can talk about all these different things of what abundance is, but for you particularly, because I always find that everyone's abundance is different. Everyone's version of success is different. Everyone's, like, I see everyone's potential, like, you come into my world, like I hold that for you as part of being in my container until you can fully see it yourself. And in that, that's the most abundant state you're going to live in, to bring in that highest potential. So I want to know how you, like, how has that come together?
So for me, how it's come together is, and I'll go back to what you were saying earlier about, sorry, you mentioned on the podcast, she talks a bit about obliterating her ego. So you remember when you and I first met and I explained to you that my ego was called Edward. Yes, and you asked why he was called Edward, and I explained it, and I won't go into the details in this session because, you know, I could chat about that for hours. But again, I was probably like Tanya. I wanted to obliterate and blow up all of these things that I didn't want to look at, right? So my abundance has been from actually looking at everything inside, because I was so busy looking outside, doing, and then I'll get here, then I'll be better, then I'll feel better, I'll be, you know, smarter, I'll grow, blah, blah, blah. The abundance is me. The abundance is that I found me. And you remember that session that you sent to me, and I told you I sat outside in my garden, but I saw my reflection in the window at the end of it, where I actually met me again. I went back to my inner child, remember, brought her back in again, kept her safe. The abundance was stop running from me, because I had, like many humans, we hide from ourselves because we can be so busy in our conscious mind and in the tsunami of each daily thing that we do in life, right? That we could never spend any time. We can all run from it. But the beauty of actually really loving yourself inside and connecting with yourself and using Edward, my ego, knowing when he's playing up to go, right, Edward, I heard you, get back to your room, or using the ego effectively rather than, I used to always think all these things were bad. Anxiety's bad, ego's bad. You know, I don't want to look at these things because that's too hard. But actually the power and the true abundance in doing it is peace. It's just peace to be with you, right? On your own. And not need to run away from it or go and find another way to deal with it, overeating, drinking, smoking, whatever we all do in life. And just go, you know what? Perfection doesn't exist, but this is good. And I'll continue that journey because there isn't just a...
But there's perfection in that, right? There's perfection in the imperfection. Like it is perfect. Like, you have anxiety. Yeah. And anxiety is a tool that is guiding you somewhere.
Right.
It's understanding why the anxiety is there and understanding how to use it well. Like emotional intelligence is such an important part to play in how we change the world, to be honest. Like it's that understanding that every emotion is a tool. It is a place where you can shift and move, and it's information. And when we look at it as, well, that information's bad. You know, anxiety is bad. It's bad to be angry. It's bad to be this. It's bad to be that. And we're just shaming our own shit show.
Judging to the point where it's exhausting, right? Yeah.
Whereas and it's not. It's not. The honoring of your emotions and the honoring of the information that's trying to come through, because it's deeply connected to your intuition. It's deeply connected to the cellular memory. You know, I know you're coming to the systemic workshop in a week, next week. And
with girls.
It's going to be beautiful. And I think the energy is, you know, like we talk about cellular memory because transgenerational stuff comes through our body, but the gift in transgenerational information through the body is also that this ancestral guidance that if you just were like, I just have this guidance, but understanding like the level of the cells and the level of information when your body says yes and no, like, and why, and taking off the layers of the, you know, we get more anxiety when we don't listen to our true yeses and nos. We get angry when we're not listening to our authentic shame that's telling us right and wrong. So when we're not listening to the information, we then try to use it in a different way to get our need met, to get someone to change, to do things, and our ego starts to take control.
And that's a horrible journey because you always end up falling over, right? And then you come back to the same point again, and it's painful to do it all over again, right? And of course, as we talk about the subconscious mind, we learn these behaviors and triggers and responses, but we can change them just by as simply as listening to the body. That's like my gold dust and popcorn moments that I just didn't know I could do until we went on this spiritual journey. I didn't know that was possible. And trying to articulate that is really hard.
It's funny because we talk about, I mean, health is the body talking, right? Health in L-Health is about body talking. And, you know, you have fibromyalgia, and I hope that's okay to say, but I also have had that in the past. So I had chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia. And the energy of that, if we do constellation work on the symptom, because we can do work around symptoms, it's almost like a stuck energy. And it's actually trying to move, and it's like a back and forth step that you don't get anywhere, but you just keep stepping, and your body just gets exhausted. And so it's this back, forth, the energy in the body, and the body's just going, like, no, this is not working. And it's understanding what's actually stopping the move, right? Because there is a movement, but
that's trying to happen. Because it's stuck. From my understanding anyway, from the amount of things that I've tried, obviously, to kind of release this, fibromyalgia kind of happens through and I'm not trying to rate levels of trauma, because trauma is trauma is trauma, but generally tends to happen through a traumatic experience, right? Or stress and anxiety build up that uncovers a traumatic experience that you might not even know consciously, but subconsciously your body does know, and it's trying to protect you. So all of my fibromyalgia friends and groups of friends, we're all kind of in that headspace that is what it is, you know. So
and it's not the thing is, the interesting part is when it's not your trauma, it can be a transgenerational trauma. That's why people think they've overcome it, but they haven't actually found the energy pattern because it wasn't theirs to begin with. It came from their familiar system. And so that is also part of it. Like, it's learning what the trauma is and where did it come from. And yes, you most likely have some, I mean, we all have unconscious trauma. It's like literally, like, our brain does it it suppresses things to survive at some point in our lives, or we'll have all had something pop up and go, oh, I remember that. You know, like, it's not a bad thing. It's just in actual fact, it's a beautiful thing that the mind does to protect us. And I think that and it serves us to a certain point. And then the energy starts to say, well, I want to complete. So energy in trauma is always trying to complete itself, and it wants to complete the cycle. But in trauma, the cycle doesn't actually get to finish. So if you look at birds, as an example, we were talking about that today in the bird flying into the window. And the window kept going. But what happens in birds is they fly, like you said, you let him out and he was just like,
totally calm,
flapped his wings and off he went, right?
I was like, he's going to die, and then he was...
Humans are probably the only species on Earth who don't have the like let it go, shake it off mechanism. Thank you, Taylor Swift. But like, we literally don't have a mechanism that says I just froze and I don't know how to shake it off. Whereas the bird freezes, or the animal freezes, and it goes, oh yeah, I'm in fight, I'm in flight, I'm in freeze. So it knows the different mechanisms, but and then it goes and moves out of it. Which is why when you have a highly traumatic event, people's adrenaline goes up and they start to shake afterwards, because it's the trauma's shifting out of the body. If we let that happen, but what happens a lot of the time in an event that's sometimes sudden and we don't really understand what's happening, we can hold that energy then in our body. And what happens, the trauma has a life, everything has a life of its own. So even the events have lives of their own. Everything is connected on a cellular and soul level. So the energy starts to say, well, this is stuck here, and I don't like being stuck. No energy wants to be stuck. It's actually a thing. Like, all energy wants to be moving.
Wants to move.
So the so the energy is then stuck, and then that's that movement, it's trying to move. And what will happen, you will create unconsciously events that match the trauma. So you'll attract the partner that matches the trauma. You'll attract the person that matches the trauma. You attract the bully boss. You attract this stuff from this state. And it's actually because the trauma is trying to complete itself.
Yeah, it's trying to complete the cycle.
Correct.
Got you.
And what we do is we want to stop this attraction point by letting the trauma complete. Yeah. And when you actually do that, it's kind of like, oh, it's done. And you move on. Yeah. And then you stop attracting the problem, and then something else comes up. So that's kind of in a nutshell, but you can do that on many different levels. But that's what trauma is really wanting to do. Like, I have a trauma informed, like, both personally, but also in my education. Yeah. And it is a very interesting thing that happens, and illness a lot of the time comes from do you know Anne? I know Anne as well.
No, I don't think
I want to say Anne from Williamstown. Anyway,
do you like Anne? You're from Williamstown?
Nice to see you. We're just chatting about trauma.
And Cecilia's here too.
Oh, yeah, Cecilia. Hi, Cecilia. So that trauma informed information is part of anything that we're wanting to change our patterns. A lot of the time it's energy trying to move in a cycle and complete the cycle. And it's funny because it might not be trauma. it might be an event that occurred that wasn't fun, like that didn't have a good feeling about it. And our mind attaches something to it to get through it. But what we need to do is then unattach the mind from the thing that we needed to get through, because
to let it go.
And then you stop the pattern to go, oh yeah, that wasn't that, or my story that I had about it actually wasn't the true story, because it was just trying to create survival. So it's just moving through the different
and protect you. Of course.
Beautiful. Well, Lynn, oh my God, you're such a, like, literally golden ideal client. I couldn't have asked for more.
Well, you are the best, hon. You know, I always send you messages every day just saying thank you so much, because sometimes, you know, you can get stuck in a tiz or stuck here, and it's just so amazing to just have that direct channel with you. You know, I'll be walking up the street doing a recording, like, oh, well, hold on, I'm just saying hi to my neighbour while I'm recording messages.
I was going to talk about that. So my one-to-one clients have a personal podcast that I do where I drop codes, and I'm often, I was wondering how they land for you, actually, because, you know, like, I am literally walking around my botanical gardens, and I'm like talking to people on the way past while I'm talking, and there's like, oh, hang on, train, sorry, hang on. So they get this podcast of kind of like my life, but at the same time they're getting this code that's coming through me.
I think it's better like that rather than someone just sitting in a room going, so today we're going to talk about, it's like, anyway. I love it. It's great. I love it.
Get, like, I call them codes, but like, you're getting the downloads that are coming through in that way, because I find that my clients start to have like a collective energy, and all of a sudden I'm like, here's some information. And it is particularly for business women, these codes, like, of where they might be holding themselves back, of where they're limiting themselves, of where they need to break a glass ceiling or whatever. So it's really, you know, what impact have they had from just having that come into your energy field? Like, I'll be like, I've just dropped you a code. And then all of a sudden,
I've said to you, I'll maybe reply back, let's say I'm in a meeting or whatever I've done, and then 2 hours later I'll come back and go, how the fudge did you know that blah, blah, blah? I was going to message you. I find it blows my mind, because something might have happened that morning. I have not even looked at Voxer. I haven't even pressed play yet on, you know, your message. Then I play it and I go, how could she possibly know? Like, I mean, I get today, you saw my face, but I was like, hi, but you knew I wasn't in the right space. It's the strangest thing. You are right. It is the collective. Obviously, I've met the other girls as well in our group in different sessions too, but it's so weird that I will have something to say to you, but I get that 2 hours out and I go, how does she know that happened at that point in time? So I find it amazing. I love it. But then I go, oh, I don't even need to talk to her. I'm like, yeah, you read my mind again. Okay, bye. Have a good day.
You read my mind again. Yeah, I kind of have a tendency to do that. So you don't need to say anything. You just read my mind. Goodbye.
Yeah. Bye. I'll see you later. Or, you know, I normally sing you a song that relates to it. I like relating music to Erin's pulse or emotions that I'm feeling, girls. So
I know.
It's the singing life coach.
My intuitiveness and my guides literally drop songs all the time. Like, it's my thing. Yeah, as well. It's like, oh, there's a code just for the song. Like, I go, why am I singing that in my head? And it'll be information intuitively. So I have to be like, oh, I like that song. Why is that song? What does it remind me of? And how I then navigate the information that's coming through. Because, you know, it doesn't turn off.
No, it doesn't.
Luckily, I mean, it is a beauty. It's a beauty. Like, I'm very blessed to be highly, highly intuitive. You could call it psychic, but I like to call it, you know, I'm a channeler.
I would call it psychic. You're definitely a channeler, because as I'm saying to you, there's no way, if we haven't spoken that day, that you could leave that message that I was going to talk to you about after the fact. I'm like, we haven't even spoken. Oh my goodness, that's just crazy. So I love it.
I love it. This last little thing before we go is literally, energy always comes first. Because I'm an energy expert and I work with energy all the time, our energy always goes first. Our energy always comes first. And so if I'm in receiving, which I am a lot, is literally receiving and downloading but we're doing this all day. So you sending vibes to me, I'm sending vibes to you, because we're in a connection. And we are constantly, like, the information's coming back and forth, and my sensitivity is like high. So I can hear it, I can feel it, I can sense it, sometimes it's an emotion, sometimes it's pain in my body, sometimes it's just a knowingness. Like people are like, how do you do that? And I'm like, I just know. I can't explain to you where it comes from, because it just is. And that highly, multi-dimensional mindset that I have is tapping into that level of information and just being open to receiving it. And it took me a long time to learn how to manage it, because like, for a long time it was like, oh my God, more information, oh my God, more information. Whereas now I'm just like, it's information. I don't necessarily have to do anything with, or I'm clearing it out and then aligning to what I want to work with. Because previously, in my learning years, I like to call them, like, it's pretty fun being
multiple radio channels switched on at one time. A lot of noise.
So I had to learn I'm in human design, so I had to learn my 2 line is very much about my inwardness. And a lot of people would class me as an extrovert, but I actually have this introvert that is part of, I had to learn to be okay with, because my learning as an ego was putting yourself out there, being the party, do this. And there was this inner part of me that was being missed, because of this learning of how do I need to be in society. And I became an extrovert, but really I am this person who just loves naturally.
Whereas we feel like we need to put the mask on, don't we? Or multiple masks to be. I always felt like I had to be the funny, high energy one, and And there is that about me. Always. It's tiresome.
So once I learned to use my compass for me, it's a hell of a lot easier to use it for other people. So I think that's the gift I can leave everyone today is,
well, I'm glad you're right. Me. And I'm so looking forward to the systemic workshop next week. As I say, I've got a couple of my girls coming as well, so I'm really excited. It's going to be amazing.
Yes, and thank you to, I can't see who's still live on, who stayed live, who dropped in.
Vanessa, we've got
and watch the replay. Do you have any questions? Now, just before we go, I will say you can find Lynn at Map My Goals Life Coach, I want to say. And if you're looking at any kind of, well, let's just tell them what you do, Lynn.
So I do, Kate knows very well. So I do hypnotherapy, NLP, which is neuro-linguistic, looking at reprogramming, older, stronger behaviors or issues that you've had, previously in your past, or things that you would like to change. And I also do life coaching. So great to meet everyone today. And obviously, Kate, I will see you soon, my dear.
Thanks for watching, Kate, for staying all the way through. Truly blessed for you to spend this time and take this time, because, even that is a gift for all of us. Like,
thank you.
Spending time to watch this. If you've watched the replay and you made it to the end, thank you so much for spending that time and watching this, because whatever happens, it's a ripple effect. And even these conversations are a learning for everybody, and sharing them is a gift in itself for me and for Lynn, and for anyone who's watching it out in the world who wants to create massive change and live in a different, new consciousness, let's say.
That's beautiful. Well said.
Thank you.
Thank you, Erin. Thanks, everyone.
We'll see you on the internet soon. Ciao.
Bye.